It is 7:02 p.m. I start my pre-op diet officially at midnight, so I've got about 5 hours left, and I just opened up my very last Dr. Pepper. A little bit emotional because, I've quit sodas before, but I always knew that if life pushed too many of my buttons, I could crack one open and be fine. Not this time.
All right, we are down to 3 hours until pre-op, and as soon as my husband gets upstairs, we are going to start taking my measurements. This is the paper that I'll be using to track everything. I just printed it off Google. I'm excited and scared. A little bit of self-doubt, but I think that's normal. Let's do this. So we just took my measurements, and I decided that I wanted to kind of treat myself before midnight hits. So I am driving 25 minutes to a specific place. I have loved soda my whole life. That's kind of my biggest downfall, and it's a generational thing, but soda's kind of been my crutch as far as like emotional eating. I don't really emotional eat. At least I don't anymore. I emotionally drink soda. And specifically, there's one soda that I have loved my entire life above all other sodas. And they pretty much stopped selling it over the last couple of years. I did some research and there was like an aluminum can shortage. I don't know. All I know is they stopped selling it just at the stores around me, and I can find it in one place, a Del Taco that's 25 minutes away from my house. So I am headed to Del Taco to get me one last Mr. Pibb, or Pibb Extra I think is what they call it these days, to end my night of being the fat friend. You'll know that I, whilst being a cancer, don't do expressing sadness very well in front of people. In the house that I grew up in, if you cried, you were trying to manipulate somebody or make them feel bad, or just basically it created a not healthy relationship as far as showing emotion, and it's carried with me my entire life. I think my ex-husband saw me cry once, and that's when I thought my grandpa was dying. But I'm trying to be real here. Doubt almost that's been bubbling up over the last couple of days, because I've always been that fat friend, frankly, I don't know how to be the normal friend. I think something that I've noticed with any overweight person that I've met is that we tend to rely on the crutch of being funny or obnoxious or something to distract people from us. Like, oh, she's super funny. Like, once you get past her appearance, she's hilarious. Or she always makes it fun at the bar because she will get drunk and be obnoxious. Not that that's me. I think I've been to a bar like 5 times in my entire life. But I feel like that's something that most overweight people rely on, is finding that specific thing that distracts people from your physical appearance, and then it just becomes who you are, even though you're 50 million other things as well. That becomes a crutch. And when it comes to something as silly as soda, I've cut out soda from my diet for years at a time in the past, but it's always been available to me as like, oh, if life gets too hard, or if work is crazy or whatever, I can crack open a soda and be fine. But I made the decision when I put my deposit down for this surgery that this was it. I refuse to come back to this weight. I'm done being unhealthy. I've got 2 beautiful girls. One of them is following in my footsteps because that's all she knows, and I've seen her get made fun of for it, and she doesn't care. That child has the confidence of a beauty pageant queen, which is amazing, but I know at some point it will matter because it did to me. I've got a lot of health issues aside from being fat, and I'm sure being overweight doesn't help them. But I want to be here as long as I can for them. And I can't do that when I'm this overweight. So, sorry. This is my turning point. And I won't go back. There. It's cheap. You don't have to have insurance approval. Go there, get it done because you need this tool in your life. So I looked it up. I followed the group for a couple of months. I did my own research. So I looked at other companies and their like ratings and referrals and all of that good stuff, and decided that EOC was indeed the place for me. And I submitted my application and got approved, I think 3 or 4 days later, and put my deposit down, which was $300 to save my date. And I haven't looked back. I worked 16-hour days, 6 days a week for 2 months, 2.5 months to pay off my surgery. I have shit credit because I was a horrible young adult and made very stupid decisions. So I couldn't get approved for any loans. I applied to over 70 loans and got denied for everything. Like I said, I come from a poor family, so I didn't have people to rely on to help me pay it off. I did start a GoFundMe at the request of a friend, and through that GoFundMe, I was able to raise $700, I think it was total, which was amazing. Amazing. And then at the very end of my needing to pay off my surgery, a friend of mine, her husband, decided to pay off what little bit I had. I had $200 basically left with my last check, and he sent me the remainder for being a good friend, which was pretty amazing. So I got it all paid off, and really enjoyed my last 2 weeks of non-dieting. I told myself, because this is it, that I'm not going to restrict myself or do pre-op early or anything like that. I'm going to enjoy food before I can't enjoy it anymore for a while. And I'm going to enjoy my soda before I give it up for good. And I know that I'm going to go through withdrawals and things like that for the next week. And I've prepared migraine medication, and my husband is prepared. My ex-husband is leaving for a week with my oldest daughter. So I think we're set. I'm set. I'm ready. I may not say that in a week, but right now I'm excited and hopeful, and I believe in myself. And I got this.